Now you may ask, is this material editable too? Of course, all you need to do is to just double click on it and go to the details panel, and you can just tweak this however you want, and you can just check all of these options and use different values for them. For example, let's start with roughness mask. We can change this number and change the roughness for this material. We can go to metallic, check that, and it works between 0 and 1. So the more it's close to 0, it gives a plastic feeling for our material, like so. And the more it's closer to 1, it gives a metallic feel to our material. So let me just change the color. It's just black. I'm gonna use 1 for the metallic so that it resembles a metal. And if I just change the color from black to white, okay, let's just click on it, check it, and choose a white color. Okay, you can see how reflective this metallic material can get. All right, so let me just choose 0.5, maybe 0 again, 1. Okay, so you get the idea. So if you want to have a metallic material, you can use that. So for roughness, I'm going to put a max roughness mask at 0.3. Okay, this is what I get. It gets kind of more dense, less reflective, and more blurry. Let's just use 0.5. Again, more of that same effect. So it's kind of more matte and more blurry now. And we can just change the color so that it resembles a real life oven more so. So again, don't worry about any of these materials that you just transport from 3ds Max. If, for example, like this oven here, if they look kind of weird, you can just change them, change the material, and use a good material for them and just make them a very high quality one. So again, I'm going to use the same thing. Go to imperfections, go to other. Let's see if I can find a suitable material for this oven. So I'm going to download this. High quality would be enough, and I'm going to add it to my content browser. Okay, and I'm going to simply drag it into this, and you can see instantly the changes. Look how realistic. Let me just add it to these parts too, so just drag it there. Okay, so just amazing. It's amazing how beautiful and realistic this oven looks now. And I can even use a more simple type of a steel for the bottom part. So I'm going to use this old varnish one, and you can do the same. You don't have to just use whatever material that I choose right now. That's not the purpose of our course here. You can just choose anything that you like. So I'm going to add this. Let's see if it got added. Okay, let's just double check. I need to add it again. Click on this add button here, and I'm gonna drag it to this bottom part. Okay, and it's a little too dirty, too dark for this apartment that I have. So I can just either use another one or double click on it and edit the material. So if I go to material properties, I can change the roughness value that I have here. So I'm gonna check use roughness mask, and I'm gonna, instead of 1, put 0.1, and you can see that right now it got a lot more shiny and a lot lighter in terms of brightness. So it's suitable for these parts. I'm gonna choose a type of plastic as material. So I'm gonna close these, and I'm gonna go to Quixel Bridge again. Let's find some plastic for these parts. So go to surfaces. I'm not sure if I can find what I was looking for, but even if we couldn't find plastic for these parts, we can just go to metal again, and let's see, and choose something. For example, these gun metal materials. Let's see, this one doesn't look that bad. It can convey a kind of plasticky feel that we want. So I'm gonna download this, wait for it to be downloaded, and then add it. Let's see what else. Maybe some of these would be suitable too. So I'm gonna add that, and let's just do it again, add it. Okay, with this button, minimize this window and just drag it into these parts. There, let's just check it from different angles. It does kind of feel like plastic, so I'm gonna leave it be. Okay, let's just go back to our scene and our apartment and see what else we can find to change the materials for. So that's basically what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to make you more comfortable with using Quixel materials. For example, this vase here and maybe this plant holder. Let's see, let's find another type of object. Let's see what we have on this table. This one, this little table here. So I'm gonna select it, go to Quixel Bridge. Let's find something. Let's use this golden metal. So I'm gonna add it. It has been downloaded before, and I'm gonna simply just drag it into this little object. Okay, there. It's just beautiful. Looks very golden and beautiful. So we can use the same material for example, this table here. It has two sides, so I'm gonna have to drag it into the other side as well, like so, and there, just beautiful. And we had another object here, maybe this one, not doesn't look that good, so I'm gonna do a Control Z for that. And we can just find just different types of materials and use these Quixel materials so that our scene just looks better than the materials that it came in with. And we are going to later on learn how to create our own materials too, but for now these Quixel materials are awesome. So let's just do something else for this part. I'm going to try to find a suitable material for these kind of stonish teapot and stuff that we have on the table. Let's see, let's just go through some of these and see if we can find anything interesting. So I'm gonna go through all these materials. This could be awesome for different objects in our scene. So let's just go back to this gun metal materials that we used before. Let's just find something here. Steel. I'm gonna download this and I'm gonna add it. Okay, there. Let's just wait for it to appear here in our content browser, and now I'm going to drag it on my teapot and just looks awesome. Looks beautiful. Look at the reflections. Let me just zoom in. Look at these scratches that we have on this metal surface, and these are very difficult to make as material, but we already have them in our Quixel material library. So if we look at this sugar container, we can just find another type of metal for the upper part, and that's what I'm going to do now. I really enjoy looking through these materials, and you got to be so familiar with these libraries so that whenever you look into your scene and you want to choose a surface or material for it, you can just do it quickly. So I'm going to go back to this gun metal materials that I used before and find something suitable for this sugar container. For example, let's see, this one could be good. And if I go to the other ones, choose something with some imperfections, some scratches. Let's see, scattered metal, this one, scratch metal. So I'm gonna download it, wait for it to be downloaded, and then I'm gonna add it. Okay, and I'm just gonna drag it onto the upper part of my sugar container, and you can just see all these scratches that I just talked about and all those imperfections. Let's see what else we have here on this table. We have this spoon here, so I can just do the same with this spoon, and you can see how beautiful, how blurry and at the same time scratchy the surface of this spoon looks. Now, because this spoon is not supposed to have this type of blurredness, I'm going to duplicate this material, put it to the side, and start working on it. I'm just going to drag it into the spoon, and let's just start changing some of the traits of this. For example, let's go to the max roughness and min roughness and change these numbers. For example, for max roughness, I'm going to put 0.2. Change the color as well. It's black now. Let's choose white, kind of gray, so that it has some reflections. 0.5 for max roughness. Let's see. Now it more resembles a clean spoon, and that suits my project better. Let's go back to our scene and let's see what else we have here so that we can choose a good material for. Let's go to this table, these plants, maybe this object. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to work on is this column right here. I'm gonna choose the same material that it has. It is concrete, so I'm gonna go to this button here and drag it into my walls too. So I have concrete walls now, And if you see these rough, black patches on it, it's because I changed the scale before. So it's not that important right now. But I'm going to find a couple of good concrete materials for these columns too and show you those as well. So I'm going to go to Home, Surfaces, and let's find concrete, and it's got to be somewhere here, there, concrete and slab, for example. Let's go through some of these slab materials and find a couple of good ones for our scenes, the columns in our scene. So this one could be interesting, so I'm going to download it, and I'm going to have to find another one too. Let's go to Cast in Situ, maybe this one. Okay, let's just use two. So I'm gonna concrete wall. Okay, I'm gonna download this too, wait for it to be downloaded, and then I have to go to my local materials and find it there. Okay, these last two, one of them have been added. Okay, wait for the other one, add this, a square concrete lab, wait for it to be loaded into my content browser, and I'm gonna drag it into my column like so, and you can see how beautiful this column has got. It has a similar color to my wall, so it matches everything. I'm going to use it for the other column as well, and I can even change the way the bumpiness of this column too. So for that I need to manipulate the normal. So I'm going to double click on this material, go to normal, and let's just find it. It's got to be somewhere here, normal strength, and I'm going to change this strength from 1 to 2. Okay, and now it has gotten more rough and more bumpy. Okay, let me just put it back to 0 so they can see the difference. Okay, and I'm going to put it on 2 and save. And now I want to use the other concrete material that I downloaded. So I go back to Surfaces. It's this concrete wall. I'm going to add this one as well. Let's just try this one for our walls there. Okay, it has a darker shade. So let's just find another wall, drag it into this one too. Now we have some kind of contrast in terms of color for these concrete walls. I'm going to add it to all of these walls now. Now, if we take a look at this wall, I think the problem is with the UVs. The scale has been made too small. So if I go to the mode and go to the UV part, so from this tab, I select projects and change this dimensions. For example, for X, Y, and Z, if I increase the dimensions, it becomes bigger, and I click on accept too. So let's see, for this other wall, let's just take a look at it first. Again, these could be bigger, so I'm gonna make them bigger and click on accept for UV projection after I'm done. And just as easy as that, I can just fix the walls. Now everything looks better. So I think you've got the hang of how to work with Quixel materials, and make sure after you have transferred your scene or objects into Unreal from 3ds Max, make sure to just fix them if need be. For example, this one is kind of too bumpy, so I need to manipulate the normals again. I'm gonna double click on it and go to the normals. I'm gonna check normal here and put, for example, 0.2, and it becomes more smooth, and that's what I want. So do the same thing, go through the scene and find the parts that are kind of problematic and try to fix them with new materials that you can find inside Quixel Bridge. So I'm going to do the same. Let's just go through our scene and see if we have any more problematic areas that need to be worked on in terms of material. For example, this kitchen counter, I'm going to double click on it. I want to change the roughness for this kitchen counter, so I'm gonna go to reflection level and change this value to 1, test out a few numbers, 0.2, maybe 1 again, 0.1. Okay, and we have other options too. We have glossiness, reflection, glossiness 0.1. I'm going to test out different numbers and see which one looks best for our scene. So I suggest you do the same and do something that you are happy with personally. So for this sink here, I'm going to use one of the materials that we previously used. So I'm going to go to Mega Scans. Let's find that folder, surfaces, this one. Let's test out this one. Kind of too dirty, too patchy. So let's just find another one, maybe this one. Okay, this seems more suitable. All right, now if you remember from previous sessions, we had this water faucet here that it was kind of problematic. So we're going to add it right now and use some material for that too. So I'm gonna import the FBX extension, and add it to our scene here, to our sink. Okay, get rid of all these errors, click on clear, wait for that to be loaded. Okay, so let me just go to my content browser, find it. Oh, I think I just made a mistake. I imported another scene here. It's the whole scene. Okay, so if you remember, this is another scene that we worked on previously. So let me just delete all of these extra stuff. So I deleted the wrong files apparently, so I'm gonna delete all of them. Okay, and I'm gonna do a right click, go to import and choose the correct file. It's this one. I'm gonna click on import all and wait for that to be loaded. Okay, get rid of all these errors, click on clear, close this. There, so this is my faucet. I'm gonna drag it here. And like we talked about before, we can see the pivot, the gizmo here, but the actual object is somewhere outside the building. So let's just correct this. And we talked about this in the previous session. So you can just drag the gizmo here, the pivot. So let me go to the top view. It's more apparent and more visible this way. So I'm gonna pan out. I'm gonna select this pivot, put it close to my object, actual faucet. I'm gonna put it where it needs to be, like so. Do a right click and select set as pivot offset, and there it has been corrected now. So let's go back to the right view, do the same thing, put it up there, maybe somewhere here. Let's just put the pivot there and click on set as pivot offset. Okay, and now we can just easily click on it, drag it, use this pivot. It's too big, the scale is too much, so just make it smaller and put it somewhere here, and then we can just go to the scene and just move it to where the sink is. Okay, so let's find the right scale, go to the top view. All right, let's just pan back, put it inside the building. Okay, and I'm gonna put it inside the kitchen in this view, and we can just go to perspective right now and just fix it real quick. So I'm gonna drag it again, put it somewhere here. Okay, place it on the counter here. Okay, all right, now all we have to do is to just add a couple of good materials to this faucet, but before that I'm going to change the scale a little bit so that it just fits the scene better. Let's just find a good size for it. Okay, so I'm not gonna download any new materials. I'm gonna use a couple of the previous ones that we downloaded before, find it from our content browser. For example, this one, add it to this part. It has two parts, and we need to use another material for the top part too. So let's just find another one, this one. Okay, now we can take a look at this from another angle, see the reflections. Let's see, looks kind of okay, looks good, but we can test out another material real quick. Let's see this one. Okay, let's just check this one out. Looks good, it looks good. So all right, so you can just test out other materials that you have here, for example this one, and other materials as well. But if you zoom in, look at the details, it looks good. Okay, you don't need to overdo this part. And that's kind of the end of this video. We tried to use different materials for some of the objects that we had in our scene, and if you zoom in on these, they just look marvelous, and they look a lot better than the materials that they were imported in from 3ds Max, and that's a very important point. So okay, in these videos we learned how to work with Quixel materials, and in the later ones, with the knowledge that we already have, we're going to learn how to create our own materials, and also how to combine two or more materials together to achieve the one that we want. Let me just add this material to this piece here to make sure that everything's covered. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.